Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Legend of Grimrock 2, a dungeon crawler on Squares. One of the best, if not that best, dungeon crawler available at the moment. And I want to make a let's play of this in hard, with a special character or party combination. And as my brother informed me that the last video was too fast and I was too unstructured, I want to do that again. So if you want to skip the character creation, just click on the next video. In this video I will only talk about and make the party, the characters. So for those of you who were suspecting that I'm doing all this again, I will not, because if I want to show you something on the map, I cannot show you my drawn map. Iron Man mode and single use, I would like to do that, and I will not save and load for the Matter of Bliss Let's Play, but I'm a father of a 1-year-old son, so I must always be ready to jump out of the game and into action for my family. So sorry, no Iron Man and no single use possible at this moment. So, as for the characters, a very important thing about character creation in this game is to understand the fact that the skills are independent from the class, and that is extremely important because a fighter does not do more damage than a wizard, for example, with a club. When they have the same strength and they have the same light weapon skill points or heavy weapon skill points spent, they're doing exactly the same damage. Other way around, for example, a farmer with 5 points in fire magic and an orb to cast does exactly the same damage as a battle mage with 5 points in fire magic. And all classes can take all skills. So alchemy cannot only be taken by the alchemist, but by any troop. And the alchemist is not making better potions than any other class. It only depends on the skill points. So that's very, very, very important. Second, as you can see, each class has benefits. They're quite differently, and they're, as I would say, differently powerful, because, for example, a wizard has the ability to cast with bare hands. What does that mean? Normally a character needs a staff or an orb to cast spells. So you must find one first, and you must spend at least one concentration skill point, and these skill points are very, very rare, to use the orb or the staff. So a wizard can do that without this. He can cast right from the beginning, and that's the only benefit of this. You can cast with bare hands. There is no other benefit to that. And as mages want to cast with orbs and staff because then they have more energy or get other bonuses, this benefit goes away quite fast. So cast with bare hands is only good in the beginning. It does not benefit you later on. Second, as you can see, then dual wielding you suffer only 25% penalty to weapon damage, normally 40%. So you say, oh, I take that. But remember, to wear two weapons, and they can only be light weapons, you have to have at least 5 points in light weapons, or this is not working. Well, you can do it at level 3, but then you need a dagger. And there are many light weapons. Light weapons are swords, clubs. There are many different light weapons. So, but to use the benefit of the rook, you need this light weapons feat as well, or it's not working. Other example for the knight, he gets an evasion bonus for equipped shields. Therefore, he needs a shield, and therefore he's not taking a two-handed heavy weapon, except he's spending 5 skill points to wear it in one hand and then take the shield. You might ask, Boris, 1 protection per level, is that much? Is that not much? Well, let me put it this way. The easiest heavy armor helmet you find gives +5 to armor class. So a good armored pants give you +12. You can expect to get up to level 15 to 20 in this game, so it's okay. It's not that powerful. For example, see the Battle Mage? You gain protection plus 10 and resist plus 10 when equipped with a staff or an orb. You can expect that he's doing that quite fast, and then he gets the same benefit as a knight at level 10. So that's not really that powerful. Weight of equipped armor is reduced by 50%. Yes, armor is quite heavy, but far more heavy than armor is food, believe it or not. Don't ask me. So, fighters' special attacks with melee weapons have half the time to build up and cost 25% less energy. Also very important, to use a special attack with a melee weapon that is not learned by a skill tree. The special attack comes from the weapon itself. So you can find a weapon, for example a cleaver, that has the special ability to cleave. And only if you have the appropriate number of skill points spent for the light weapons or heavy weapons, a cleaver normally is a heavy weapon, only then can you use this ability. So, as I understand it, in every game, there are two kinds of abilities, feats, whatever you call that. That work without prerequisites, and that need prerequisites. And I prefer abilities that need no prerequisites. Farmer. There was a lot of talking about farmers. Are they good? Are they not good? They do not get skill points, as you only get one skill point per level. And as you only level up to level 15 to 20 normally. Yeah, you can get higher, but let's keep the regular number. You're only getting 15 skill points in total. Plus the 2, or 14 plus the 2 to start with makes 16. So the first 2 skill points are quite important. They make a good value of your total skill points. Instead of slaying monsters, you gain experience by eating food. What does that mean? Well, for example, if you kill a beginning turtle, a starting turtle, that turtle that runs around in the starting grounds, you get 65 experience. For a better target, you get about 90 experience. A farmer that eats a turtle steak, which is normally left by a turtle, sometimes they leave 2 of that, gets 200 to 250 experience points. So yes, farmers level up quite quickly, and yes, there is a lot of food laying around. Can you do a complete farmer army? I'm not sure of that. Quite, they will level up fast, but is there enough food to feed 4 farmers? I do not know. Battle Mage. That sounds very, very, very good. Weight of armor is reduced by 50%. That's always good because you're always overloaded if you start taking everything with you. But more to that, taking everything with you later. I will show you that in the game. And you can cast spells with bare hands. Yeah, we already talked about that. That only means that he can cast right from the start. And you gain protection 10 and resist 10 equipped with staff and orb. So that means he will not cast with bare hands very long because he tries to get his hands on a staff or an orb, and then this you can cast with bare hands is gone. This benefit. So we have the Barbarian. Strength plus 1 per level. Now I have your attention. Yes, that's the same thing I thought. That is quite impressive. When you think that you have only 10 attributes points to distribute between the 4 attributes, and that you're not getting a bonus point each level up or each 3 levels up, you only get bonus points here when you find very special rare legendary potions, and there are not that many of that in the game. It's not that you find hundreds of them or even 50 of them or even 30. Well, 30 perhaps in the complete game if you're very, very lucky, but I won't count on that. So that is actually quite powerful. The Alchemist. Herbs in your inventory multiply. Yes. Not really that big, because it is not work that you pick up a herb and walk 3 steps and then you have 2. It needs hundreds of steps for them to reproduce. So, yeah. It's quite, take it with, how do you say, take it with a grain of salt. And here is this: firearms have a 50% less chance to malfunction. Now you say, okay, I'm like an alchemist and go for firearms because that is my special. The special of firearms is at full level that you do not have any malfunctions. So this only works until you have spent 5 points in that skill section. And then this benefit is gone as well. Another thing about classes. Look at the following. Health 50, energy 50, total 100. Battle Mage. Health 50, energy 50, total 100. Farmer. Health 30, 30, total 60. Health Fighter. Health 60, energy 30, total 90. 90 as well. 85 and 85. And now look at the Barbarian. This is 120. That is big. The Barbarian has the total most energy and health points from the start. Plus, where all others only get 10 points in total, 5, 5, 5, 5, 7, 3, 7, 3, 5, 5, or 3, 7, they're all getting 10 points in total, energy and health together, per level up. The Barbarian gets 13. And now think of level 10. You get up to level 10. That means he has an advantage of 30 points in energy and health together compared to the other classes. And he has another advantage of about 20 points minimum right from the start. So Barbarian, very, very good. Furthermore, +1 strength per level. When you think he's level 10, then this is the equivalent to find 10 potions of strength. I'm not even sure there are 10 potions of strength in the entire game. Well, perhaps there are 10 or 15, but you get the point. That is quite powerful. That is quite good. And as already said, each class can use all weapons. A wizard can use a two-handed mace if he wants to, and if he spends the points on it, the skill points on it, he will hit as hard as any fighter with it. So what you can wear in armor and weapons only depends on what you find, what you can carry by strength, and where you have invested your skill points. That brings me to another thing, skill points. As I mentioned, there are not that many of them. Calculate very, very, very narrow. So if you say I take Fire Magic 5, Air Magic 5, Earth Magic 5, Water Magic 5, Concentration 5, then I have a pretty good mage and then perhaps I go for Dodge. No, it's not working. You will never get that many points. Every point is very, very important. So, for example, you say I take a Rook. Then I take light weapons 5. Then I take accuracy to hit better and to attack from the second row. What is the second row? We'll come to that later, but it's quite funny to have that. Then I take a critical 5. Of course, I take a dodge 5, and perhaps, well, I need an alchemist. He takes. No, that's not working. It's not working. Cut that. Not happening. So calculate this very, very narrow. Very, very narrow. So, for example, critical goes good with light weapons, but that means you need 5 points here, 5 points here, that's 10 points. So that means up to level 8, you're already planned out. And that's all you can do. Then you have this 2, and then you're even with your skill points. 2 from the start. 7, at level 7. 7 from the level ups. No, 8 actually. You must be level 8 because you got 2 to start and 8 from the levels. So that's about that. So what else? Attributes. As I said, very important too, because you're not getting any bonuses here in the game that easy. Very slow bonuses, yes, but not many. And there are quite big differences in the attributes. For example, willpower only affects your energy points, nothing else. And you only get per level the energy points that are listed for your class. If you have willpower 100, you will get 5 points per level with a Rook. If you have willpower 1, you get 5 points per level with a Rook. not more, not less. It is not dependent on your willpower. The willpower only gives you 5 points per attribute point that you invest. Nothing more. Vitality. Vitality has 3 effects. It gives you 5 life points, and it gives you resist cold and resist poison, 2 points. So Vitality is, in matter of points and effectiveness speaking, 3 times more powerful than willpower. There is the mention that you get healed from harmful conditions faster. Well, take that with a grain of salt. That's not happening very fast, to say the least. So cut that out, basically. Then I go for strength, because strength affects only 2 things: your damage and your carrying capacity. 1 point in strength means 3 points maximum load and 1 more damage. And that's about it. And now we come to the Grandmaster of Attributes, Dexterity. Dexterity affects your accuracy, how good you hit enemies, your evasion, how good you can evade being hit, and the damage with many missile weapons, as well as some closed combat weapons. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Actually, that means this affects right from the start 4 different sections. Plus, look what happens if I put a point here. It also affects resist fire and resist shock. So that means 1 point here changes 6 stats effectively. Resist fire, resist shock, evasion, accuracy, damage with missile weapons, and damage with some close combat weapons. So if you get a bonus, take it for dexterity, trust me. That's about for the attributes. Now we come to the traits. Some traits, as you see, are gray because they're reserved for special creatures. Chitin armor can only be taken by insects. That makes sense. As you're seeing here, protection plus 10. The normal natural armor that any other race can take is plus 5. As mentioned, that is the equivalent of a heavy helmet, starting heavy helmet. Nothing more, nothing less. When you compare now, for example, this, Strong Mind gives you willpower 2. As willpower only affects your energy points, and that only means you have 10 more energy points before you take this. Take that. It gives you 20 points. Know what I mean? So if you're up for energy, take Aura. Other example, aggressive gives you plus 4 damage. As strength affects damage and carrying capacity, this but only affects the damage. You can effectively halve it if you want to compare the different traits. So if you say aggressive gives damage plus 4, that's actually 2 points strength, because strength also gives you carrying capacity. This trait gives not, so you can actually halve it. If you go for endurance, other example, your maximum carrying capacity is increased by 25 kilo. That is about 8 points in strength. As it only affects the maximum load, but not the damage, you can effectively halve this effectiveness, so you can count this on imaginary 4 points of strength. Evasive gives 5 points evasion. You say that's great, that's the equivalent of 5 points in dexterity. No, because dexterity actually affects 6 different fields: accuracy, evasion, shock, fire resistance, missile weapons, and some close combat weapons. Plus, if you take 1 skill point in dodge, you're getting 3 points for evasion. So that is, you could either say nearly 2 skill points, or 1 point in dexterity to make it comparable to the others. When you look all this through, you will find something very impressive, and that is mutation. One of your attribute scores, chosen randomly, increase when you gain a new level. Whoa. Whoa, ladies and gentlemen, that is absolute fantastic. That means right from the start, 4 of our guys will all be ratlings. Simple as that. And they will all have one trait, and that is mutation. By the way, take the traits. There is no negative effect if you take 2 traits. So you're not being scammed by taking 2. It's good, and it's necessary. That brings me to races. Yes, only ratlings can have mutations, so mutation is what we take. If you compare them, a human only gets 10% more experience. Well, that means as the levels are capped, or if you're not going any higher than level 20, that means in the best you're getting 1, perhaps 2 levels higher than the others, and I won't count even on that. An insectoid, when you compare that, +1, -2, -1, +2, it's equaling each other out. So you're not making any positive attributes here. And your chance of body parts injured is reduced by 50%. Well, luck is not a very funny person, so you get hurt either way, so I think you can drop that. You could go for an insectoid. Just imagining. Go for an insectoid, take chitin armor +10, and then take natural armor, and then you have 15 protection, which is quite impressive in the beginning. But only in the beginning. It will go down in usage after that rapidly. So, what are the other races? Well, a lizard man, +2, -2 equals each other out. Resistance, all 25. That's cool. And you could take, for example, a lizard man and give him endure elements. That gives him another 25%. You say that's great. That's great. But that needs a target that uses fire, cold, poison, or shock magic, or damage. But most targets here simply kick your ass with a foot, or a shoe, or a club, or something like that. So, as good as this sounds, it only works with the prerequisites, when the enemy must do something. Without that, it is not useful. And that's the reason I'm not counting on the lizard man. The Minotaur! Oh yes, here comes math. +5, -4, +4, -3. Yes, he's actually making 2 attribute points positively. Your food consumption rate is 25% higher than normal. What the heck? There is enough food for all. You won't die on that. And with strength +5 you can be pretty sure that you do a lot of damage. The only difference is you won't hit anything with this accuracy. So, rattling. Your first thing is, oh boy, that's negative. He's making -2 in the attribute section. Not really. Start counting. He gets strength -4, dexterity +2. So he's at -2 when it comes to the attribute rating. He has evasion +2. So that counts theoretically for 2 dexterity, but as dexterity does more than just evasion, let's just count it with 1. Or even a little bit less than 1. That means he's only down to -1 attribute points in comparison. Maximum load +15 kilo is the equivalent to 5 points in strength. As strength also does increase your damage, you can halve the points, so that's 2.5. So actually you're making positive attribute points with this. And you're immune to diseases, which is nice. There are actually some enemies who can make you diseased. Not that many, but that's how it is. So, we are all sure we want to take the mutation. The question is, what is the second trait we want to take? So, we have aggressive, 4 damage. Yes, 4 damage is to everything. To everything. Range combat, close combat, whatever you like, you do 4 damage more. Nice. Aura +20. Yes, but no. That is not a real bonus. You have 20% more 20 more energy points. A simple fire spell costs 25, so yeah, it's nice, but no. Cold-blooded. Resistant to cold, requires an enemy that does cold damage. There are some, but not that many. Endurance. That is one of my favorites because you can carry more thing and you need less food. Well, there's plenty, and actually this only gives you the ability to carry the food you do not eat because you do not need it. Evasive, +5. The problem is we're playing on hard and the enemy is hitting us. Evasion 5 points higher or not. This we cannot take. Healthy, +2 vitality. Yes, 10 more life points and 4 points more in resistance of, what was it, cold and poison. Yes, perhaps. That we already have. That we cannot take. That we cannot take. That we cannot take. Although this would be my choice, I think. Yes, this would be my choice. Tough, +20 health points. Well, no. Agile, as dexterity gives the highest or the highest number of bonuses to our character, I would go for agile. Cheating armor, cannot take. Ancestral ancestors require someone who does fire damage. We cannot take. But because what is obvious is that if you have a lizard man, you're not taking this, but you're taking that. Fast learner, we cannot take. Headhunter, they're actually skulls, but you have to find them and you have to carry them, and then you have only one character because it only works for the one that carries them. Muscular, +2 strength, which means 6 more kilos to carry and 2 more damage. Woo! Natural armor, nice, but no. Poison resistance, well, yeah, if you fear spiders. Rage! We have no horns. Strong mind, as I meant, if you take, before you take willpower, yeah, take aura. Weapon specialization, +7. If you see the skill points, accuracy gives you 10 points, so that is actually less than 1 skill point. So we're going for agile. We're going for agile with everyone, because agile affects the most stats. I love math. So, now we come to the classes. The easiest class to start with, if you ask me, is the Battle Mage, because he can cast with bare hands and you will simply burn away every target in the first levels with ease. Later on he gets the stuff and he carries his armor easy, and he has good health and good energy points, so that would be the obvious choice for your character. Most people playing these games mix character classes. You know, the party, the thief, the fighter, the mage, the cleric. I do not do that. Why? Because I always say, better have a bucket with one big hole than have a bucket with dozen small holes, which means each character class has a disadvantage, and before I have a lot of disadvantages small, I have one big disadvantage and shield that one. And yes, it is the easiest way to start, but I always say better start hard and get easier on the rest of the game. So this might come to a surprise to you. You might call me nuts. You might stop watching my videos here, but I'm actually trying it on hard with a 4 times barbarian army. Why that? Because barbarians do not have anything that becomes useless by the time, like the alchemist when he have firearms to 5, and he does not have an ability like spells with bar hand, which becomes obsolete as soon as you find a staff and use the staff for casting, or something like a special attack that only works if you have the right item and the right skilling. A barbarian always works, no matter what items you have and no matter what skills you have. Barbarian always brings his +1 strength per level, no matter what you do. Then, of course, we put all points in dexterity, because we're fighting and defending with dexterity. Why is that so? You will see later in the game. Now, as our strength is increasing per level, I'm not investing points in our strength. I'm putting our points in our vitality, because vitality affects cold, poison, and life points, and strength only affects damage with special weapons, not with all weapons, and that's very important. There are weapons that do not get a bonus to damage from strength, and we're getting more and more strength when we level up, and so we can carry more and more as the game progresses. That means the more we find, the more we can carry, because we level up. So that's the reason I'm investing the points here. So for the skills, now you will. Yeah, now if you had not called me nuts by now, you will. I will go for armor with all, because I think armor is very important. You find very, very good armor, but if you do not have the right proficiency, light or heavy armor proficiency, your evasion will be cut to 0 or even negative. So armor, having points in armor is very important to be alive. Especially when you're playing on hard, you must accept the fact that you will be surrounded by the enemy sooner or later, and then you cannot say, oh, my barbarians in the front, they're heavily armored, but my guys in the back who are stabbed now from behind, well, they're not carrying any armor because they're wizards. No, everyone in this army, everyone in this party must carry its own weight against any target. And we can switch troops from back row to front row very easy. So we can revolve to stay alive, and I will show that later. So we need armor. We're not going for heavy weapons or light weapons because we will not be the weapon type. We will be casting barbarians using weapons that give us a bonus on dex, no matter if they're light or heavy weapons, or missile weapons, or throwing weapons, or firearms. So we'll try to cut this out completely. So we're going for concentration, because we will need concentration sooner or later, because we want to cast spells, and therefore we must wear staffs or orbs, and to wear a staff or an orbs you need concentration. And the energy is welcome, because with 50 energy we can cast 2 attack spells before we must recover our energy. And if you're underwater, and yes, you will be underwater, your energy determines how long you can do that. So everyone will get concentration, as every character will need concentration to cast spells. So now we need faces. This might surprise you. This is my son. Looks a little bit like him. So I take this one for my wife. If anyone says anything not nice, don't do it. I have a very, very nice wife. She's much more pretty than that, but this is simply the prettiest red picture I have. So one goes for my brother. The best brother in the world, I might add. And one goes for me. Yeah, I'm kind of, yeah, looks quite familiar actually. It's a good hit. So, that is it for character creation. So, and this is the actual game, and this is where I will stop the first recording, so that those who want to skip the character creation guide can simply start in the game right away, and we'll see each other again when we start the game. See you then. Bye.